What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today, we are going to jump back over to Marvel Comics, and we are going to continue our coverage over Jonathan Hickman's X-Men run. Now, in the early days of his run, he basically gave us two different titles, House of X and Power of X. Both of these series go together to tell one overarching storyline. And so today, we're going to pick up with Power of X number 2 and House of X number 2. So I do hope you enjoy today's comic book video, because these two issues right here are about to give us a lot of answers, but of course, more questions down the road. So I do hope you enjoy today's comic book video. To begin today's video, we actually pick up with Moira Mactaggert. Now, this is Hickman's first big change with the X-Men. The reason why I say that is because we actually see Hickman talking about Moira Mactaggert, because when we pick up with her, we actually see her right now living a normal life. And if you are a big X-Men fan, this is strange to you, because she was very close to the X-Men. So to see her right now having a normal life, getting married, having children, having grandchildren is very strange. And then she died. But that is the moment you have Hickman tell us that she is a mutant, because right after she died, she starts her life all over again. But she remembers everything from her past life. And so every single time she dies, she just starts all over again. But she remembers everything from her past lives. And this is going to be very important, because when it came to her second life, she had no idea still that she was a mutant. She had no idea what she was. But that is the moment she watched a TV show, and of course she saw Charles Xavier. And when she saw Charles Xavier on the television, she realized what she was, because that was the moment he told the world that he was a mutant. And so with that being said, she's like, I must be a mutant. I must go meet Charles Xavier, and hopefully he can help me. Except the problem is, when she got on a plane to go see Charles Xavier, the plane crashed and she died. And so that ended her second life. But getting into Moira Mactaggert's third life, she was able to find Charles Xavier earlier on. But of course, by this point, she had devoted herself into science to learn more about science, to hopefully figure out more about the mutant gene. But after talking to Charles Xavier, to herself, she thought the mutant gene was a disease and it had to be cured. And so almost at the end of her third life, she actually created a cure for the mutation gene. So right after she makes the cure, well, that is the moment she does get attacked by the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Now, at this point in Marvel Comics, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants was being led by Mystique. And Mystique had brought Destiny and Pyro with her. Now, the reason why she brought Destiny with her is because Destiny has the ability to see possible futures down the road. But here comes the thing, though. She saw a future with Moira Mactaggert, but the thing is, that future is not part of this current life for Moira Mactaggert. It's one of her future lives, because you have Destiny say, listen, what you just did, making that cure, it's not going to help us. It's only going to hurt us. Now, to Moira's eyes, she made the cure as an option for mutants to take, meaning that her company is not forcing mutants to take it, it's just an option for them. But you have Destiny say, that's your problem though. You don't realize humans hate us. Humans hate mutants. So sooner or later, your cure won't just be an option, it will be forced on us to get rid of us. And that is your big problem. You should be using your lives as a way to help the mutant race, not to hurt us. And so you have Destiny say, listen, you may think you have unlimited lives with the ability to reincarnate every single time you die. But the problem is you only have 10, maybe 11 if you play your cards right. But for right now, I only see 10 lives. And this is your third one, which means you only got 7 left. Use your last 7 lives as a way to help the mutant race, not to hurt us. Do you understand? And Moira's kind of like, yeah, I guess I do. And that is the moment you have Pyro kill her, but Pyro kills her slow so that she'll never forget this moment. But right before he does that, well, Destiny says, do not worry, because every single life you have, I will be there, because you and I, we're now tied to one another, because I am much older than you, which means my powers manifest before you're even born. So there's no way you can get rid of me. So just know I will always be there watching you. But when we get into Moira Mactaggert's 4th life, of course, that is the moment she finds Charles Xavier, and she begins the process of actually helping him achieve his goal, which is mutants and humans can live together as one. And so that was her ultimate goal, to help him out to reach that goal. But the problem is we do see some familiar moments. First Class X-Men, Giant Size X-Men, and then Avengers versus X-Men. And of course, at the end of that 3rd one, Charles Xavier died. And so to her, that life right there was a complete failure. Now with her 5th life, you did have Moira Mactaggert actually find Charles Xavier one more time. But when he reads her mind, well, that is when he realized that his dream failed. And with his dream failing, he realized there is no way that mutants and humans can live together. So let's grab a bunch of mutants and let's go live somewhere far away from the human race. And hopefully they will leave us alone. Of course, that did not work, because right at the very end of that life, that is the moment the Sentinels attack. Robot machines made to kill mutants. And so of course, they were all sent to go find that nation that mutants were hiding in, and the mutant race was wiped out once again. Now we actually skip over Moira Mactaggert's 6th life and we jump into her 7th life. And the reason why is because Moira Mactaggert thought she had a good game plan that could possibly save the mutant race, which is get rid of the Trask bloodline. The Trask family was the ones who made the Sentinels. If she is able to get rid of them, then most likely the Sentinels will never be made and mutants can live in peace. But the problem is though, humans will always hate mutants. And so even though the Trask family is not around, there are other people out there who will make Sentinels as a way to make sure that mutants are wiped out, because again, humans will always hate mutants. Now in her 8th life, she realized that she can't go to Charles Xavier. She must go to someone else. And so she goes to Magneto. Now the reason why, because Magneto, he wants to make sure that mutants are safe from humans. And so maybe he'll be the perfect person to lead the mutant race in that direction. The problem is, when it comes to Magneto, he's very radical. He's always doing something over the top to make sure that mutants are safe from humans. And so on one of his last missions, he died by the hands of both human and mutant heroes. And he felt betrayed by the mutants that fought against him, because of course, Charles Xavier was still there, and Charles Xavier was trying to make peace with the humans. And so the X-Men teamed up with the heroes who were humans, and they fought against Magneto, and he ultimately failed. Now in her 9th life, she realized that she can't go to Magneto nor Charles Xavier, and so instead she goes to Apocalypse, because she believes that Apocalypse could be the one to lead the mutant race in the right direction. And so you have her wake up Apocalypse, she joins him, he kills off Charles Xavier, he kills off Magneto, and he was actually leading the mutant race in a certain direction until there was the Apocalypse Machine War. Now the only thing we know was the war started and Apocalypse was fighting against the machines, but we have no idea what happened after the war had started. But then we jump into Moira Mactaggert's 10th life. Now with her 10th life, to me it seems like this is the current Marvel timeline. So almost everything you saw when it came to the X-Men happened in her 10th life. Except she plans on doing things completely different, and we just have to learn what are things she is going to do to actually help out the mutant race. Now, in her 10th life, we actually see Charles Xavier and Moira Mactaggert go find Magneto. They go to his island, they find him, but that is the moment we know that this is the current Marvel timeline. So most things we saw in previous X-Men books have happened. But either way, of course, Magneto and Charles Xavier are not really strong friends here anymore. But you do have Charles say, listen, Magneto, there is something I must show you. I must show you how we both failed. You failed, I failed, and even Apocalypse failed. And with all three of us failing, we need to come together. Now Magneto's kind of like, listen, there's no way that we both failed. But you have Charles Xavier use his powers to show Moira Mactaggert's past lies to Magneto. And of course, that does two things. One, it tells Magneto that Moira Mactaggert is a mutant, but on top of that as well, he now knows that he failed, Charles Xavier failed, and also Apocalypse failed, which means that these two guys must work together if they want to help out the mutant race. Now, we actually do pick up in the present day with Cyclops, Magneto, and Charles Xavier. And the reason why, because you have Charles and Magneto telling Cyclops about the new evil organization, Orchid. Orchid, of course, is an organization made up of different parts of other organizations in Marvel Comics. So like AIM, Hydra, Sword, Shield, the list goes on and on. Now, these are all ex-members who kind of had the same mindset. Whenever the mutant race gets too big and most likely could take out the human race, they will come together and form their new evil organization to hopefully take out the mutant race. And so right now you have you have Charles Xavier telling Cyclops, listen, this new evil organization, well, they have made a mother mold, and a mother mold will make master molds, and master molds will make sentinels, which means that this new evil organization is just trying to mass produce sentinels across the board so that they can take out the mutant race. And so you have Magneto and Charles Xavier actually asking Cyclops to take a team, go up into space and deal with this problem before it gets too big to handle. But we do jump into the far future, 100 years in the future. And in this future, of course, we're now at the Machine-Man War. And we saw this war in our last video. But either way though, at this point right now, machines have really taken over the world. There are some humans who are fighting against the machines, but there are some humans that are actually helping the machines. And there are some mutants left, but only like 8, maybe 9, and that is it. Most mutants have left Earth and went to different empires across the universe. But either way, we did see a team of mutants in the future being able to gather some kind of information for some unknown reason. But of course, we come to find out that this future mutant team is being led by Apocalypse, which could tie into Moira Mactaggert's 9th life. Because remember, in her 9th life, she found she found Apocalypse, and she began to work with Apocalypse as a way to help out the mutant race. And so this could possibly mean that right now we're kind of seeing images of her 9th life. But let's not forget that Nimrod knows about what the X-Men did in the future, that they were able to grab some kind of information for some unknown reason. Now, if you forgot who was Nimrod, Nimrod is basically the perfect form of a Sentinel. Sentinels have been remade so many times up to Nimrod. Nimrod is the perfect model, the one to take out anything that stands in his way. But Nimrod knows that the future X-Men were able to grab some kind of information, and the question is now, what are they going to do with that information? Now, getting back to that X-Men team, we actually see them right now looking through the information that they have gathered. Now, they weren't able to get the exact information that they were looking for. Instead, what they did was they grabbed a kind of system that kind of, how I say this, they organize information by particular days. And so right now you have the X-Men looking through this index as a way to find the one true information they actually need. Because once they get that information, maybe, just maybe, this could help them win the war or possibly prevent the war. But either way, once they're able to actually find that information, well, you have Apocalypse say, I will lead us. I will fight with you guys, because apparently this could be the end for Apocalypse, as he is trying to make sure the X-Men do win. Now we jump 1,000 years in the future where humans and machines are one, but we pick up with the Librarian and Nimrod. Of course, this is a better version of Nimrod, but we learn that they have been successful in their plan. In order to prove their value to the higher civilizations in the universe, they created a collective intelligence called the Nimbus, which transforms Nibiru, another planet in the universe, into a world mind. A world mind is a celestial object. Most times it is a planet, but it is an intellect, and they usually possess God-like intelligence. The world mind was found by the Phalanx, who consumed it and came to Earth to find its creators, which was the plan for the Librarian and Nimrod, to bring the Phalanx here to consume the Earth by using Nibiru as bait. They asked them what is it they seek, and they answer ascension, wishing to be absorbed into the Phalanx collective. But to close on this book, we actually pick up with the future X-Men about to go on their suicide mission, because they have one more mission, and they know that at the end of this mission, all of them are going to die. But of course, they have no choice. They must keep pushing forward to achieve their ultimate goal. And this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please hit the like button down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoy today's comic book video.